Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. My name is Hunter on this Monday, September 15th, 2025. In this forecast, we're going to be looking at a late season heat wave with warmer temperatures continuing, but is a cool down on the way? We're going to answer that question. And we'll look at an active pattern possibly setting up across the United States as we go into next week. Areas that have been in drought may get some much needed rainfall, and we'll pinpoint which areas exactly in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley could see that. And we'll look at your full tropical weather update, including new development in the tropics in both the Pacific and the Atlantic side as we go toward the end of the video. You know what to do. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notification bell, so you are notified for future videos and live streams that we do here on the channel. And moving forward, like the video, give it a thumbs up, especially if you do enjoy it. It really helps out more than you know to get as many likes as we can on the video. Share it with a friend, a family member, and on social media. It helps out there as well. Let's get into the forecast here. We have a big ridge of high pressure up near the Hudson Bay, or what we call Ontario, Canada. And that's where a big ridge of high pressure is. And that is providing us with sinking air, and sinking air brings you lots of sunshine, and thus that will warm our temperatures up. We do have low pressure in the trough into the blue across the southeast, another small one into the Pacific Northwest diving into the Rockies, and a much larger one just south of Alaska in the Northeast Pacific Ocean. So what's that do to our temperatures here for your Monday, September 15th? Well, it warms us up closer to that ridge axis up there near the Hudson Bay, Manitoba, Ontario, even parts of Quebec there in central and eastern Canada are going to be well above normal with our temperatures, and then that bleeds southward into the Mississippi Valley of the United States. Our United States temperatures this afternoon are going to be into the low and mid 90s, even some upper 90s down here toward Louisiana, East Texas, and into Mississippi this afternoon. So if you venture outdoors, make sure to stay hydrated, find frequent breaks in the shade, or even better yet, an air-conditioned room, because this is going to be some hot weather, especially this late in the season. And as we go through the week ahead, we're going to continue to see the warm air spread out across the Canadian prairies up here and the Canadian provinces, and then down into the eastern half of the United States, mainly along and east of the Mississippi River. If you're west of the Mississippi, the closer to the Rockies you get, we'll be leaning a little bit below normal with our temperatures for the week ahead. This takes us through Friday, September 19th, 2025. So here we go tomorrow on Tuesday, September 16th. More of those upper 80s to mid 90s here across the central United States. A little bit cooler over here toward the Carolinas and Virginia. Rain cooled air, cloud cover will keep our temperatures down in the 60s and 70s here. But notice as we go into midweek, Wednesday, September 17th, we start to see a cold front move across the central U.S., bringing our temperatures down in the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Kansas, whereas again, the mid and lower Mississippi Valley will be experiencing upper 80s to mid 90s on Wednesday. And then that will continue into Thursday. Cooler air starting to spill in a little bit further east. And then by the end of the week on Friday, September 19th, that will bring some cooler air to the Illinois Valley, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley in general, squashing the 90-degree temperatures down more into the southeast once we get toward late in the week. Now, we are going to see a chance for thunderstorms and potentially even some severe weather this afternoon across parts of the United States, especially northern Minnesota there, Wyoming into western South Dakota, and then Missouri into the Ozarks region, down into northern Arkansas, southwest Tennessee, and northwestern Mississippi. The dark green, that is an isolated threat for severe weather. So just know that not everybody is going to see a severe thunderstorm in these areas. It will be pretty isolated. And then notice the isolated threat for severe weather shifts east into central Nebraska as we go into your day on Tuesday, September 16th tomorrow. And then midweek on Wednesday, September 17th, there is no severe weather expected anywhere across the United States, so that is some great news. Now, looking at the week ahead where our precipitation is lying out here across the central United States, there could be some spots that see potentially 2-3 inches worth of rain with multiple rounds of storms, especially for South Dakota, Nebraska, southwestern Minnesota, and western Iowa. A little bit more sporadic the further south you get, and especially down toward the Dallas-Fort Worth North area and Wichita Falls, Texas. These areas are going to kind of be the cutoff line for where we see no precipitation to a lot more the further north you go of the Red River Valley this week. And there will be low-end chances for severe weather possibly later in the week as well, stretching from Minnesota, Wisconsin, down through Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and West Texas, including the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles. We'll keep an eye on it, but it looks like mainly a damaging wind and hail threat. The tornado threat should stay pretty low on each of these days as we don't have a lot of rotation in the atmosphere this week. We are looking at some colder air into the higher elevations of the Rockies. You blink, you miss it, but we could see a few inches of snow into the higher elevations of the Rockies and Wyoming, into areas outside Salt Lake City and Utah, and then into areas outside Denver and Colorado. We'll keep an eye on that. Not a big ordeal there. A lot more snowfall in higher elevations further north you go, and it's cooler up here towards southeastern Alaska, southwestern Yukon, and northwestern British Columbia, Canada, where we could see several feet of snowfall through the week ahead. This takes us through Friday, September 19th, and some areas could even see upwards to 4 feet of snow or more as we go through the week ahead. Now, going into next week, this is the last week of September, and Monday, September 22nd through Friday, September 26th, big trough across the Northeast Pacific, moving into the western Canadian provinces of Yukon and British Columbia. A ridge will be established across the western half of the nation of the United States, and what that will do is keep our temperatures leaning a little bit above normal heading into the last week of September. So it'll still feel kind of like an Indian summer out there. It's going to feel pretty warm across the lower 48 and the southern Canadian provinces as well. And we're going to see some active weather with that trough. It's a stronger trough. It's going to bring us a lot more rainfall, even snowfall in higher elevations there of Canada and the Pacific Northwest. But we're going to see some rainfall. Seattle, Portland, Eugene, Medford, down there toward the northern Sacramento Valley, keeping an eye on that. Now, looking at operational guidance, this is your European model going through the 5-day period next week between Monday, September 22nd and Friday, September 26th, and it shows a wet pattern here across the Midwest into the Ohio Valley, really the central and eastern U.S. in general. And then in contrast, the GFS, the American guidance, is much drier. So there is a lot of uncertainty in how this pattern shakes out as we go into next week, and you bet we'll keep you covered on this as we get closer to next week here on this channel. Now let's turn over to your full tropical weather update. We have an 80% chance of a tropical cyclone developing over the next 7 days in the main development region, heading up there towards the southwest Atlantic. But again, this is a fish storm look right now. You can see today on Monday, September 15th, very weak wave there in the central main development region, way away from land. Look at how far it moves 2 days from now. It literally just crawls westward, still in the central main development region, but perhaps starting to strengthen. We have some members here in the 980s, 990s millibar range, which would equate to a strong tropical storm or a low-end hurricane. And notice the background pattern of the atmosphere here in the Atlantic Basin. We have a very weak Bermuda high that's been the signal all season long. That's why we've seen a lot of recurving systems in the Atlantic, and I don't think that this Bermuda high is going to get strong enough to move this system westward, which is some great news because we don't want it to hit any land. And as we go to late week on Friday, September 19th, look at the members here. 960s, 970s, 980s millibar. That is equating to a category 1 or 2 system. And again, this is way away from land. So that is some great news. Once we get to a week from today, next Monday, September 22nd, there are a lot of members moving it and recurving it out to sea. A majority of them, should I add, is going to go east of Bermuda. There are some members, though, that stay weaker longer with this system, and a weaker system will tend to track further west and northwest than straight north. So we'll be keeping an eye on this trend as we go through late in the week this week and into the weekend to see where exactly the system goes. But right now, it is likely to be recurving out in the Atlantic Ocean east of Bermuda is the consensus right now. Now, looking here at late September, a lot of these systems, tropical waves that come off the Cape Verde Islands there of Africa into the main development region with a weak Bermuda high will kind of start to recurve and gain latitude as they strengthen, and that in tandem will keep that away from the United States and the Caribbean, and that is the hope as we even continue all the way through the rest of the month through September 30th. Let's look at the Pacific Basin. We have a strong strong tropical storm Mario right now with another system that has a potential developing behind it. There's Mario, has a lot of convection around the center there and just off the coast of the Baja of California. And this is remaining a tropical storm through at least tomorrow afternoon and evening before moving into some cooler water and really starting to downgrade to a tropical depression and then a post-tropical cyclone and remnants of that. Right now, strong tropical storm, maximum sustained winds 60 miles per hour, moving west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. And you can see again those water temperatures the further west and northwest it goes. West of the Baja of California are very cool. And if you know about tropics, tropical cyclones do not love cool water. It just rips them apart. So we're going to see that actually happen over the next 48 hours with Mario. But another system right behind it here has a 7-day cone of 60% chance of development here, just again, really kind of taking a similar path to Mario right off the coast of Mexico, south and west of the Baja of California. And there are some members here that are starting to show that weak wave there in the East Pacific. And then by the time we get to midweek on Wednesday, September 17th, looking at a strong tropical storm with that probably being named by midweek. And then we're going to see a hurricane likely. And there are some strong members in here that get a pretty powerful hurricane with this system late in the week on Friday, September 19th. But again, the further west this system goes and it runs into cooler water, regardless if it's a tropical storm or hurricane at that point, it's likely going to weaken because, again, tropical cyclones do not like cool water. It literally just rips them apart. But as we go to a week from now, again, that is the consensus. That is, it continues to move westward there into the East Pacific and the open water, really not affecting anybody, at least directly, that it will continue to weaken as we go towards next week. And the East Pacific Basin should remain pretty active, at least through the 23rd, 24th there of the month of September, and then starting to get a little bit quieter, but there's still a chance of tropical cyclones near Central America and right near the Mexico coast as we go through the 30th of September. We'll continue to cover everything weather across Canada, the United States, and the tropics, and the best way is to subscribe to my channel, so we'll keep you updated on a daily basis here across those areas. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and share it with a friend, family member, and on social media. I definitely appreciate it. It helps to get this video out to as many people as we possibly can. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe rest of their Monday out there.